is Monday, July 20. Welcome to CGN News. Islands in the Caribbean, including St. Lucia, Antigua, St. Kitts, and many others, are selling discounted citizenships in an effort to help their economies recover from lost tourism amidst COVID-19. According to Business Insider, Caribbean islands have been offering passports to wealthy foreigners in exchange for monetary investments. But in the COVID-19 crisis, the deals are now more attractive. St. Kitts and Nevis is now selling a 4-person family package for $150,000, down from $190,000 in exchange for a minimum real estate purchase of $200,000 that must be held for at least 7 years. Les Khan, CEO of St. Kitts and Nevis Citizenship Investment Unit, in an interview with Bloomberg News, said, in the days of COVID, when tourism is not happening, they have to find ways to create revenue to sustain the country's economy. Bermuda lifts its COVID-19 curfew today. However, premises with a liquor license must close at midnight. Public Works Minister David Birch said the decision to end the midnight to 5 a.m. local time curfew would be reviewed on a weekly basis. It was also revealed that 2 new cases of the disease had been reported and that 1 had broken quarantine restrictions and gone to work. 6 cases, all returning residents, have been recorded since the airport was reopened on July 1. The government, according to a CMC report, also unveiled new legislation in the House of Assembly on Friday. It includes a $25,000 U.S. fine and/or 6 months imprisonment for a breach of the requirement for travelers to quarantine as they waited for the result of the mandatory airport COVID-19 test. Barbados hoteliers are gearing up for visitors since closing their doors 3 months ago. According to a report in Barbados today, some are targeting August 1, while others are looking at September or October to return to business. The hoteliers say in addition to observing national protocols, they will also be implementing their own, installing several hand sanitizing stations across their properties. Some have also installed plexiglass at the front desks and other areas, started training staff, and instituted measures to have the temperature of all staff and guests checked. Edmund Bartlett, Minister of Tourism, has sounded the alarm to tourism entities that if they do not adhere to the health and safety protocols in place to facilitate the reopening of the sector, they will be shut down. Bartlett was speaking at the Gulf View Hotel in Manchester in Jamaica on the weekend during a tour of the newly opened South Coast Resilient Corridor. He warned that if the entities are not COVID compliant, it won't matter if they are large or small, as there will be no compromise on health security. The new corridor was introduced on July 15 and will welcome visitors with robust health and safety protocols. Moses Kirkconnell, Deputy Premier and Tourism Minister of the Cayman Islands, in a press briefing on Friday said the Cayman borders will be reopened to international travel on September 1. It will begin in phases. Kirkconnell, in making the announcement, said the prospect of reopening is a subject of concern to many in the communities, and that the government has taken note of the COVID-19 situation in North America and beyond. He said keeping the border closed indefinitely is unreasonable, unsustainable, and cannot continue from an economic standpoint. Overseas now, hundreds of demonstrators gathered in London on Sunday to protest the wearing of face masks. A small crowd descended on Hyde Park in central London to voice their opposition to masks after Prime Minister Boris Johnson announced it will become compulsory to wear them in shops from Friday. Some protesters waved placards referring to masks as mind control devices, while others pictured promoting the flat earth theory and a supposed link between 5G and COVID-19. Several demonstrators wore masks to illustrate their opposition to face masks. The gathering was organized by a group called Keep Britain Free. New York City Council members are expressing disgust at a racist call from a Republican councilman to end the West Indian Day Parade in Brooklyn. In a joint letter sent to Councilman Joe Borelli, the legislators said that they wanted an immediate apology for his overtly racist attack on the parade. The councillors also told the Republican that he had singled out the West Indian Parade, which celebrates New York's mainly black West Indian community, to target for elimination, fabricating a bigoted argument that brings shame to the office he holds. The Trump administration says it will impose travel bans on employees of the Chinese technology giant Huawei and other Chinese companies the U.S. determines are assisting authoritarian governments in cracking down on human rights. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo also said the administration is finalizing plans to minimize data theft from the popular Chinese video streaming app TikTok. Pompeo made the announcements a day after the British government said it would ban Huawei from its 5G networks over concerns that sensitive data could be compromised by the Chinese Communist Party. According to a release on the U.S. Department of State website, telecommunications companies around the world should consider themselves on notice. If they are doing business with Huawei, they are doing business with human rights abusers. Rapper and fashion designer Kanye West broke down in tears on Sunday at a rally in South Carolina to launch his surprise campaign for the United States presidential elections. Wearing a bulletproof jacket marked security and with 2020 shaved onto the back of his head, 43-year-old West gave an hour-long rambling speech, according to a report in Al Jazeera News. West told the audience how he had wanted his wife Kim Kardashian to get an abortion when she was pregnant with their first child. He then revealed his father also had wanted to abort him. At one point, when he was talking about economic inequality, he said that Harriet Tubman never actually freed the slaves. She just had the slaves go work for other white people. Tubman was an American abolitionist and political activist who was born into slavery. That's it for CGN News. I'm Scott Wilson. Thanks for watching.